I'll be out with them. It's a white male, blue shirt, gray pants. Yes, sir.
This man there is going to get hit. He flipped his car here a minute ago.
All right, I'll get him.
Waving his own thing.
Disregard, that was a truck driver. So I think it's a black male with a pink shirt. Come on, buddy.
Step away.
Come on,
You a devil.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
You know, on this channel, we often talk about all the destructive things that the Black Lives Matter movement has done in the United States of America, all in the name of forwarding the myth of black people being victimized by the police for no reason other than evil white racism. But the fact is, one of the things that the BLM movement achieved post the lies that they told about the Michael Brown case was getting body cams being standard in almost every department in the country. And the thing is, while Black Lives Matter thought that that was going to be a win, they thought that that was going to expose the police for all the different various crimes that they're committing, and then we would actually be able to see it through the objective view of the camera, all this black victimization across the country. Time and time again, what we actually see is that it shows that the officers are actually in the right. They're actually behaving appropriately, and in reality, they're encountering some of the worst criminals that you can encounter, and despite the fact that they show patience to these individuals, they are not rewarded with it. They are actually attacked repeatedly. And a perfect example of this is the case of Deshawn Leeth. Now, Deshawn was sold to us as a community leader, somebody who fought against the evil white racist system, the systemic structures, the evil white racist police department that was gunned down by the police despite the fact that he was an innocent Baba Angel Aladdin who didn't do nothing wrong, who was just a joy to be around. And honestly, it was so sad and so terrible that a white state trooper just killed him for no real reason, when in reality, what we see through the body cam footage is that Deshawn Leeth on this day was attacking the officer repeatedly. The officer was showing restraint, more restraint than, by the way, I even think he needs to show. He was physically overpowered by Deshawn, had his cruiser stolen, the cruiser was flipped, and Deshawn proceeded to resist arrest, ultimately ending up leading to his own death in what is clearly and obviously not only a justified shooting, but multiple different instances you could have went for a justified shooting. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to break this down. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
So there's actually a GoFundMe for Deshawn Leeth, and I can confidently say, but for the body cam footage that was released, this would likely be in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because the original narrative that was put out was this community activist, this community leader, this trailblazer that ends up speaking out and raising his voice in order to elevate the black victims of evil white racism, was gunned down by the police for no reason, because the police are so evil, white, and racist. Now, again, I'm going to link the full body cam footage in the description of this video. Obviously, because of the way YouTube treats my channel, I can't show you a bunch of different clips of the violence that was going on, but we'll listen to some of the audio and some of the video. I'll have to freeze frame here and there so you can get an idea of how this encounter went down.
In the name of Jesus, watch out. In the name of Jesus, watch out. Watch out,
get hurt.
You're going to get hurt. In the name of Jesus, stop, bitch.
Hey,
Jesus, Lord, bow down.
get hurt.
Jesus, Lord, bow down. Don't touch me,
Turn
you're
around,
going
put
to
your hands
die.
behind
Next
your
time you touch me, you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5-team Cleveland. Send me another unit. He's on foot, going down the berm. Hey, you gotta go down!
But I do want you guys to take note of the fact that this physical altercation where he was attacking the officer, telling him that he was going to die, went on for over 2 minutes, and that officer, or the state trooper to be more accurate, never actually initiated deadly force. The most he initiated was a taser. The taser ultimately ended up not being effective against this individual, and we have a very iconic image from this that is going viral of this man and the crazed look in his eyes, and obviously it appears that he was going through some kind of drug-induced mental state or mental state that was just something that he had that was about him.
Don't touch me, you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die.
So you could hear from that video that Deshawn Deshawn told the state trooper, next time you touch me, you're going to die. And for those of you who are unaware, what ended up initiating this particular encounter was that Deshawn was in another vehicle. I'm not sure if it was a stolen vehicle. There's mixed reporting on that he crashed and he was in an accident and he was out kind of trying to flee that particular accident or some such thing. Anyway, regardless, the state trooper had every right to be there. He had every right to talk to Deshawn Leeth, but Deshawn decided that he was not having it, and obviously he came out aggressive from the jump. And again, without the body cam, without the dash cam from the vehicle, this would be portrayed as an evil white racist cop targeting a victim of a car crash for no reason other than the fact that he is a young black man who probably is working on civil rights and is the next MLK Jr. if you think about it, when in reality you see that the aggressiveness comes from Deshawn.
That's Jesus, bitch! That's Jesus, bitch! Bitch! That's Jesus! Yes! Oh!
Get down on the ground!
Jesus! 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 Okay, let's see. Good one.
Now, as things progress, the taser comes out. You see the iconic image of this guy with the crazed look on his face. It is evocative of that image of another allegedly innocent Beba Angel Aladdin, a woman who attacked an officer with a knife, and the still image we got from that. And she ultimately ended up getting shot and killed in that instance, which, by the way, was 100% justified. And the attack continues. And at one point in time, he actually gets on top of the officer, who's backing away, giving ground, trying not to escalate this, trying to restrain him with physical force. There are points in time in the footage, which is in first person view, where you see the officer throwing punches and whatnot, but in reality, it's not very effective against this guy because whatever he's on or whatever mental issue he's experiencing or some combination of the two is just not in any way, shape, or form responding to the physical force he's laying out. But we see throughout the course of this particular altercation, we never have the deadly force threat coming from this state trooper. Honestly, you should kind of teach this a little bit as an exercise in restraint, because this Ohio State trooper that is involved in this particular portion of this interaction is not escalating. He's basically doing everything and anything to avoid escalating, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for doing so. But again, the narrative would have been out that this guy was a horrible evil white racist. He's filled with evil white racism, and he targeted an activist that was such a good guy, such a swell guy, such a wonderful person, and he killed an innocent Beba unarmed black person. But what we see from this video is that he's not innocent. He's not dangerous. He's incredibly dangerous. And ultimately what he does is steal the cruiser of the police officer.
And then you start the car, go.
The Detective Patrol car went into Pennsylvania. I'm okay, I was
Now you did that with off the radio.
I
And
think
Jesus
it wasn't
rebuke
affected.
the devil off the radio. Play that good gospel music. Everlasting God. In the name of Jesus. Thank you. Hey, car. I rebuke anything that get behind me. I rebuke anything that's in front of me.
He then leads them on an 11-minute chase, and while he's in the car, we have audio from him, and everything he's saying is just garbled and crazy and kind of sad. Now, I don't know if I can show you the car flipping from the perspective of this particular driver and have YouTube not punish my channel, but I'm not also sure if there was a pit maneuver initiated in order to get this police vehicle to flip. But what you need to know is that at some point in time, while he's driving, leading police on this 11-minute chase, he ends up crashing into a barrier and then coming over the other side of the highway across all the lanes, flipping over upside down, and he's still talking nonsense. You can still hear him saying all this different crazy stuff. And again, I will point out that even though this guy is an attacker, even though it's clearly and obviously a justified shooting, it is incredibly sad to see somebody completely lose their mind. Somebody who, by the way, had some attention around him, who was successful in some ways, even if he was a race hustler, go out like this. this, but this is the result of when you resist arrest, when you attack an officer, when you threaten to kill an officer, when you end up stealing a car from an officer, and you present yourself as a serious danger to everyone. I mean, again, what is the alternative for the cops in this particular situation? They have to let this guy go? They have to try to de-escalate more than the original state trooper did? I don't know if you can de-escalate more. The guy keeps coming at him. The trooper keeps backing up. It's clear he's looking for a fight. It's clear he's in a crazed state. Yet, for some reason, a lot of different people initially, before the body cam dropped, were like, oh my God, what racism? Oh my God, this is so terrible. Oh my God, start the GoFundMe for this good, honorable activist in the community, a wonderful individual from top to bottom who never did anything wrong and is really just being crushed because of the evil white racist system. Isn't evil white racism so terrible that it actually gets in the head of black criminals and makes them commit crimes? It's like the whites just control everything because they're so evil, white, and racist, and their instrument of control is the police, who again show up at the scene of an accident, try to assist the person who is in the car that got into the accident, and for some reason the white people just made that person, through their assistance, attack that particular state trooper. Again, it's obviously ridiculous, but if you do not believe that this would have been portrayed, and by the way, if you don't understand that this is counted as an unarmed black person killed by police, then you just aren't following the situation, because this is very similar to what all the different various reports were about the Michael Brown case, except for a couple of witnesses who, by the way, were proven to be liars, proven not just by the majority of witnesses, but by the forensic evidence, and that is a foundational case in the Black Lives Matter movement. And we all know the evil orange man is president, and whenever you have an election coming up or a Republican in office, they are looking for a case like this. So we have every reason to believe that but for the dash cam, but for the body cam footage, that Deshawn Leeth would have been the subject of many protests, where all these different individuals would be like, say his name, Deshawn Leeth, say his name, he's such a good guy, he's such a wonderful person, but in reality, he's anything but that. Now again, we can talk about mental health issues, we could talk about drug issues, we could talk about all the different factors that led him to get to this point, and I think it's valuable to do so, but what we can't say is that the police are supposed to evaluate that as they're being attacked, as they're being assaulted, as their lives are being put in danger by somebody who is demonstrating himself to not do anything but resist arrest, demonstrating himself to not comply with orders, and demonstrating himself to attack officers in a physical way that could result in a deadly force encounter, and you have to respond in kind in that situation. And unfortunately, Deshawn Leeth ended up passing away due to the fact that he was shot in this particular instance. This is not an ideal outcome for anyone. I understand that he definitely earned it. It's definitely a justified shooting. We all understand that. We all get that, or at least the sensible ones of us get that, but that still doesn't make this an ideal situation, because a 30-year-old man died for no reason other than his own stupid actions that could have been motivated by drug use and or mental illness and or some combination of the two. But the overall takeaway from this story, separate from the tragedy of the life that is Deshawn Leeth, separate from the officer acting unbelievably professionally, showing an unbelievable amount of patience, is the fact that the body cams have been the greatest ally for the police that you could imagine. Again, Black Lives Matter tried to impose this on them. It was fought back by the police unions that they ultimately ended up losing. And guess what? They've done nothing but aid officers. We have maybe a case here or there of an officer being caught committing a crime on body cam, but the overwhelming majority of the time, maybe 100 cases to the one of corruption, we see this result. The body cam footage ends up clearing the officer. It ends up showing that what they were doing was objectively reasonable, and that is the conclusion in this particular case. But again, those are just my thoughts. Maybe you think Deshawn Leeth is an innocent Baba Angel community leader activist who didn't deserve this, who didn't actually engage in violence with the officer, despite the fact that we have about 20 minutes of footage that shows to the contrary of that. Maybe you just think that this is evil white racism, and we all need to just shut up with our evil white racism. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the Deshawn Leeth case. Till next time.